Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here's the second video on O16HW1 graphing linear inequalities. I do understand that these graphing is a challenging topic. It's pretty tough. So my goal is to try to make things as easy as I possibly can for you. So we're going to talk about O16HW1 graphing linear inequalities homework again. And except for that, we're going to use the graphing calculator. That will maybe help us out a little bit more. So our first problem here in the homework of O16HW1 is y is greater than negative 7/5 x minus 4. Now notice here in this problem that y is all by itself. And if it's not by itself, we could always solve for y, which we're going to practice in the future in our class, solving for y again. So when we have an equation when it's all by itself, when y equals or y is greater than or y is less than, we could actually put this equation into our graphing calculator. That's why we encourage you to get graphing calculators for yourself. So let's bring up a graphing calculator. So our equation here is y is greater than negative 7/5 x minus 4. So on our graphing calculator, what we're going to do, we're going to hit the y equals button. That's going to bring up this screen here of all these y equals. And in that screen, we're going to do parentheses, negative 7 divided by 5, close parentheses, for the negative 7/5. Then we're going to hit the x button, which is diagonal of the second button. Then we're going to do minus 4. Minus sign 4. On the right hand side here, it shows you all the work, all the buttons that I hit. Once we type that in, we can hit the graph button and we'll be able to get the graph of what our picture is going to look like. And if we hit second graph, we're going to get a table. And on this table, let's see if I can make it bigger on your screen. Nah, I can't. Or if I maybe zoom in with the camera. Let's try that. Well, that seems to work. We could see here, we got a table where the x stands for all the x values in a coordinate, and the y stands for all the y values in our coordinates. So, our first coordinate when we graph this guy is 0, negative 4. Then we have 1, negative 5.4, 2, negative 6.8, 3, negative 8.2, 4, negative 9.6, 5, negative 11. So I would try to, when I'm graphing with the graph paper, I would try to stick to all the integers, aka like the round pretty numbers. So I'll plot the point 0, negative 4, 5, negative 11, and then connect those 2 points. Or if we scroll up when the black box is on the x, we could get the other values going into negative numbers, and we could graph the point negative 5, positive 3. And that's another nice set of integers. And we can plot that coordinate. And plot those 2 points. So plot negative 5, 3 on your graph and 0, negative 4. Once we plot those 2 points, we can connect those 2 points using a ruler. And we can get a graph that looks like this. Negative 5, 0, and 0, I believe, negative 3. I'm sorry, 0, negative 4. Alright, so we got that graph. So we know what our graph looks like. It's going to look like either C or B. The last bit is us shading. We're going to test that 0, 0 point. So I'll zoom back out. So we know B and C is the correct graph. So now I need to know which side to shade. So we're going to test the 0, 0 point. We put 0 in for y, and we put 0 in for x. Anything times 0 is 0. So is 0 greater than negative 4? Well, that is a true statement. So we got to shade that 0, 0 point. And we shade it. So it would be 1 is C. Let's look at number 2. We have y is less than 3/5 x minus 2. Since y is all solved for, we're going to put this equation into the graphing calculator. So let's do that. Let's bring up the graphing calculator. Let's find out what our line's going to look like. So we hit our y equals button. We're going to clear everything. I'm going to clear the keys. I'm going to clear our graphing calculator. Let's center it. We'll make it bigger so you could easily see it. We're going to type in our equation. Oh, since y is equal to or y is less than, we're going to do parentheses 3 divided by 5, close parentheses. Hit the X button, and then minus 2. So we type that right into our graphing calculator. Then we're going to hit second table, and we're going to get our table there. So we can plot the points -5, -5. We can plot the points 0, -2. And we can also plot the point 5, 1. And then connect those 3 points. So our graph is going to look like that on the 10 by 10 graph. Now on our multiple choice there, we have 6 by 6 graphs. So our graphs are going to be a little bit smaller, but we can handle that. We know that's what our picture is going to look like. So we can close that. We zoom back out. So when we compare our graphing calculator here in the bottom right hand corner, this picture kind of looks like C and it kind of looks like B. Obviously it's not going in a negative direction, and it's not looking like A because our line's not above the origin, it's below it. So we have our options of B and C. Now we have to test to find out which side to shade on our line. Is it going to be the 0, 0 side, or is it not going to be the 0, 0 side? So we put 0, 0 into our equation. We're going to put 0, 0 into our y and our x. 3/5 times 0 is 0. Is 0 less than -2? Well, that is false. 0 is not less than -2. So we go here. 0, 0 is not less than -2. So that 0, 0 point is a liar. It's not telling the truth, and we only want to shade the side that's telling the truth. So we have to shade down below. So C is our correct answer, because C doesn't have 0, 0 shaded. Alright, let's move on to number 3. We're going to do the same process. Y is less than 6x plus 5. So we're going to go into our graphing calculator. We're going to type that in. We'll make it nice and big on our screen. So we hit the y equals button, which is located right here on our graphing calculator. That'll bring up this screen. And we're going to type in 6x, where the x button is located right here, diagonal of the second button. That's where your x button is. So 6x plus 5. Now I don't put any parentheses in because there's not a fraction. It's just a nice integer of 6. So that's why I don't need to put in a parentheses. So it's 6x plus 5. If we want to find the graph, we hit the graph button, and that's what our graph is going to look like. And then we hit second graph button to get our table. So we can plot the points -1, -1, 0, 5, 1, 11, and connect those 3 points to get our graph. That's what our graph is going to look like. That's the answer to number 3. Oh, sorry, that's what the line looks like. Let's zoom back out and I'll show you the exact answer for number 3. So we know that's our graph. So I'm going to move it over to the side here in the bottom right corner. So that's what our picture looks like. So we know it's not D, but it could be A, B, or C, because that's what the pictures look like. But if you could see, our y-intercept is at +5. It's at a positive number here. So A could be eliminated because our y-intercept is at a negative number. So we're down to B and C. So we're going to test that 0, 0 point. If it's true, the statement is true, we're going to be picking C because the right-hand side of that line is shaded, or that 0, 0 point is shaded. If it's false, we're going to pick B. So we're going to put 0 in for X and 0 in for Y, and we're going to test this 0, 0 point. So 0 is less than 6 times 0 plus 5. Well, 6 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. So 0 is less than 5. Well, that is a true statement. So that means that 0, 0 point is true. So we're going to shade that 0, 0 point. So C is our correct answer. So 3 is C. Let's move on to number 4. Here's number 4. Y is less than 3x minus 5. So we're going to type that into our graphing calculator. So I'll bring that up, make it nice and big. I'm going to hit the Y equals button to get to our Y equals screen. We're going to clear that screen by hitting the clear button below the arrow keys. And we're going to type in 3x minus 5. We hit the graph button to get the graph. And if we want the table, we hit second table. And we get the table. And here are all our values for x, our values for y. And this is our coordinates. Our coordinate is 0, negative 5, 1, negative 2, 2, 1. We plot those 3 points and we connect them on our graph. And that's it. All right. So let's hit my graph button again. That's what our graph looks like. I'm just going to move that to the bottom right-hand corner. Let's zoom out so we look at our multiple choice. So this picture here on the bottom right-hand corner, that's our answer. So what does our graph look like here? Well, A looks like it could be good. C doesn't look good because our y-intercept in C is above the 0, 0 point. And our answer in our graphing calculator, it's below. So C does not work out. B is going into a negative slope where our answer is a positive slope. So B is eliminated. So it's either A or D. Now, the difference between A and D is that the sides are shaded differently. In D, it's including the 0, 0 point. And A, it's not including the 0, 0 point. So we're going to put in the 0, 0. And we're going to test it to find out if it's true or not. If the equation is true, then we know we have to pick option D because it's shaded. If it's false, we're going to pick option A. So we look in our equation that's given to us. It says y is less than y is less than 3x minus 5. We put 0 in for y, 0 in for x. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 5 is 5. 0 is less than negative 5. Well, that's a false statement. 0 is not less than negative 5. So, of our options, 0, 0 is not a correct answer. It's false because they said 0 is less than negative 5. That is a false statement. So we do not shade that 0, 0 point. So that's why we cannot pick D. Our option is A. So 4 is A. All right, hopefully this helps you out a little bit by using a graphing calculator. We're going to practice more of this in class so you get more and more comfortable with it because graphing calculators are very, very helpful. That's why I encourage you guys to get it. All right, if you're still having trouble after all this practice, no worries, just come to Extra Help for some more practice and I'll be happy to help you out. If you have any questions in class, please ask me because I want to help you. All right, have a good night.